Hello there and welcome to the Wisdom for Humanity podcast. My name is James Malins and I am the Wisdom Guide, and in this podcast we're going to be helping you to get from your present state all the way to your desired state through perspective, understanding and real life experiences. Now in this episode we're going to be talking about self-understanding, and we're going to be breaking that topic down into three subsections. So we're going to be talking about understanding who you are, understanding what you want, and understanding how to control your thoughts, feelings, and actions. So, beginning with this first idea of understanding who we are, it follows on a little bit about the first episode from the person inside, but what we do is we go into it in a little bit more depth. We look at what it is we believe. What do we believe are our truths in our lives? Because a lot of people, they're living somebody else's truths. Okay, they're living what somebody else's idea of reality is. Now, if you know me personally, you know that I don't like the word realistic. Why? Because everybody's idea of what is real is different. For some people, their idea of real might be that they're worthless and that no one cares about them. And someone else's idea of realistic is that, they can conquer the world and go and live on the moon. And all of this stuff is possible, maybe not now, maybe in the future, who knows? But having an open mind is the key. And you see, in having an open mind, we understand that perhaps someone's idea of reality isn't the same as our own idea of reality. And when we accept that, we understand that someone's truths and beliefs might be different. Okay, and if their truths and their beliefs are different, then we have to respect and understand that. We have to have a different perspective. We have to look from a different corner of life. So that if we can look from a different corner of life, we can kind of sometimes, most of the time, get an idea as to why someone does what it is that they do. So very often you'll notice that there are a lot of people out there who say and do things that are at the detriment to other people or are hurting other people. But what then you might find is that, their home life has been terrible always. They've been abused over their life, and you can kind of see that they were never taught how to love. They were never taught how to show affection and care towards other people. And because they never learned that as they were growing up, it turns out that they treat everybody else terribly in the future as well. So it's always important to understand that someone else's reality could in fact be different to yours. And that's not even on a spiritual level, that's just on a grounded level. That's on a realistic level, okay? That's on a real level, because some people have experienced life different to the way we have, and due to that means that their beliefs and what is true for them will be different. So then I ask you the question, what do you believe? What is true for you in your life? And your beliefs could be anything. It could be in religion, could be in God, it could be in Vishnu, Buddha, any deity out there, it could be anything. And when you realise that, you start to see that, well, I can actually dictate what I believe, right? I get the choice as to what I believe. I choose, nobody else. And this is the beauty of life, because when you make the decision to understand that you choose how you believe and see life, then you start to be able to change things. Okay, so if you believe that you're worthless and that you're garbage and that no one ever will care for you, well, let's take a look at that belief. Where did it come from? Did it come from you, genuinely? Or has it come from your external experience? Were you bullied as a child? Did a boyfriend or a girlfriend tell you that you were worthless and that you were never going to get anywhere and that, without them, you wouldn't be who you are? Because if that's the case, do you really believe that? If you take a look at that person and ask yourself, is that person a good person? If the answer's no, then how can you believe what it is they say? Where's the validity? Right? It's like, the vast 99.9% of people in the world have lied. So when people say, oh, I'm not a liar, I've never lied. Okay. If you believe that, if that's your truth in life, then that's fine. But the vast majority of people have lied at some point in life, either to help somebody else save face, so to help somebody else to not feel embarrassed or hurt, or just because they couldn't deal with their own emotions and they knew that they had guilt and they didn't want to feel that guilt, so they lied about it to make themselves feel better. Right? We've all done it, Maybe your girlfriend or boyfriend says, how does this jacket look on me? And you say to them, oh yeah, it looks great. It looks good. But inside you don't think that. You don't like the colour green, right? Or you don't like the colour brown. And that's your own personal opinion, which is fine. But you don't want to turn around and some people don't want to turn around and be super blunt and say, no, I don't like your green jacket, because that's going to hurt them. They'll think, oh, well, it makes them feel worthless. It makes them feel less. And because you're a loving, caring person, you don't want to do that. So you say, yeah, it looks great. You know, if you enjoy it, if you feel good in that jacket, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about my opinion. Because that's the truth of life, right? There's a truth for you when we look at who we are. The truth is that opinions are just information. And you decide whether you take that information in or not. You know, I could be on this podcast and I could make the statement that every single person who's watching is the most beautiful person in the world. It's only true if you believe it to be true. That opinion is only true if you believe it to be true. And this is where we look at our beliefs and we try to understand them better so that we can lead more fulfilled lives. Because, take for instance, a long time ago, I used to believe that I was insignificant and that nobody cared about me. And because I carried on believing that, that was actually that was always what I received. Until I changed it around and I said to myself, nah, you know what? I do have value. I am appreciated. I am loved. Even if it's just by one person. And if it's just by one person, that means that more people can love me in the future. And sometimes where we are at and our current circumstances, it's very hard to look towards the future. Trust me, I've been there. You know, it's very hard to look towards anything else other than the horror that you're feeling right now. But it's possible. And when you realise it's possible and you realise that you can teach yourself to see further and understand that my situation sucks now, but maybe further down the line, or definitely further down the line, it's going to be better. The maybe and the definitely is all down to you. You know? Is it a maybe for you or is it a definitely? Because let me tell you something, when you have a definite purpose, that cannot be shaken, you will achieve your goals. Okay guys, so with the next section of the podcast, we're going to be talking about understanding what you want. Now this is a really big one for me, especially in my teachings, how I portray things to people, how I get them to see a different side of life, is I always ask them, what do you want? You know, and this should be a question that we all ask ourselves every single day. What do we want? You know, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you should ask yourself, what do I want? You know, well, I want to have financial freedom. You know, I want to have a beautiful girlfriend or boyfriend. You know, I want to have a beautiful child. My partner and me are trying for a child, and I want one. You know, set your intentions. Because sometimes we're faced with really difficult moments in life, but if you set your intentions, the universe can work wonders. It can be magical. And sometimes there are things that happen that we can't explain, but they happen in our favour. And I think that this is the beauty of having an open mind, because when you have an open mind, you realise the possibility. You realise the potential of this world. And some people, they go through life and believe they have no power at all. And that's not their fault. You know, they've never been exposed to anything else. They've never understood anything else. They were never taught that they have the power. And we all do. We have the power to love and care for others. We have the power to mould our lives the way we see it. Because opportunity in this world is absolutely abundant everywhere around us. The opportunity is just incredible. And yet some of us don't use it. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to ask yourselves so I want you to say to yourself, what do I want every morning? Okay, if you're taking notes on this podcast, I want you to, number one, ask yourself the question, what do I want? Then I want you to ask these next two questions. What's my willingness to learn? And what's my willingness to accept change? Thank you very much, Kevin Trudeau, for those two questions. I won't take credit for those. 2 questions. What do you want? 3, sorry. What do you want? What's your willingness to learn? What's your willingness to accept change? Because those final 2 questions, when you ask yourself that, you might say to yourself, well, my willingness to learn is a 10. And you're, oh, James, it's amazing. My willingness to learn is a 10. But my willingness to accept change is a 2. So therefore, when the opportunity comes your way to learn under the wing of somebody or to learn on a vast level, and you have to move 250 miles away, you're not ready to do it because you're not willing to accept that change. And this is where a lot of these opportunities present themselves to ourselves are actually also laced with a challenge. You know, the universe is saying to you, okay, I'm going to give you what you want, but let's see how bad you want it. Right? You want this so badly, it's very clear you want this. Let's see how badly. Let's see if you're really willing and ready to give what it takes to receive what it is that you want. Because I see a lot of law of attraction mentors out there, teachers, which I love. It's fantastic. Spread the message. Spread the message. But one of the most important things of the law of attraction is you can't just manifest and sit there. It doesn't work like that. You can't just spend 50 years of your life saying, I want to be a multi-millionaire and just sit and do nothing. If you want to be a multi-millionaire, set your intentions. I'm going to be. Absolutely. Because this is my purpose. This is my calling in life. This is why I'm here. To help people, to provide, to give, to provide a service to the world. And in return, I will receive the millions that I am owed. Because you paid your debts. And your debts were to give to the universe just as it was going to give to you. You pay your debts first. You put your deposit down. All right? You put your deposit down on the universe. And you receive tenfold. So this is a really important teaching of today, guys. So as you're watching this podcast, definitely take this note in. Is that when you're manifesting and you're affirming what it is that you want, right? Understanding what you want. When you're affirming what it is you want, you have to put the work in. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to connect with the right people. You've got to get the opportunities in front of you. You've got to learn the skills. You've got to understand how to get to where it is you want to be. And you have to put the effort in. Right, you've got to put the effort in, you've got to put the work in, you've got to push and fight and claw for what it is you want, because the universe is testing you. Saying to you, okay, let's see what you want. And let's see what you're willing to give for it. Because it's not to say that you've got to sacrifice, all of the time for your manifestations. Of course not. There are many different examples, there are many different vibrational energies in this world, there are many different frequencies that give a different result. Right? When you apply the emotion to the affirmation, you receive what you get. So it depends what you apply, how intense it is, how frequently you do it. Are you doing it 10, 15, 16 times a day? Or are you doing it 150 times a day? Or are you doing it not at all? Because if you're not doing it at all, how are you ever going to attract? It's like turning on a huge magnet, right? You turn on the magnet, it starts attracting all of the metal cars or whatever. You turn it off, they stop. Or, maybe even they start rolling back down the hill. Okay, because you've turned the magnet off. Right, you turn the magnet back on, they start coming back up the hill, you turn it off, they start rolling back down again. So if you're not doing it frequently enough, those cars are just going to roll down the hill, right? Those affirmations, what it is you want, they're just going to roll down the hill, you're never going to get them. Right, but if you turn that magnet on and you're just flicking it on and off, on and off, on and off all the time, it's going to gradually come all the way up until it's stuck to that magnet and you received exactly what it is that you wanted to receive. And that's the beauty of this universe. Is if you are frequent enough, you show that level of obsession, you show that level of intent, I am telling you now, you will be so close to your dreams, goals and ambitions that you will achieve them. And this is it. This is the mixture, okay? This is the mixture in the understanding as to what makes us great, as to what gets us to where we want to be. This is how we manifest. This is how we create. And this is what we've got to understand. Is you've got to use your mind and open your perspective to the reality of the mechanics of the world. Quite a little bit of jargon there. Right, you've got to open your mind to the mechanics of the universe to understand how it all works. Alright guys, so now in the third section of the podcast, we're going to be talking about how to understand and control your thoughts, feelings and actions. Now one of the biggest things and the biggest teachings that I give out to people is that everything starts with your thoughts. Okay, some people might argue it starts with conditioning. Okay, I get that. But let's have a look at what we can control. We can't change the past. Okay, we can't change what we experienced. We can change ourselves from here onwards, but we can't change what the past is. Okay, so leave the conditioning there. Let's take a look at our thoughts. Okay, so everything starts with our thoughts because our thoughts affect our feelings. All right, I'm miserable, I'm worthless, I'm pathetic, you feel sad. I'm awesome, I'm amazing, I'm excited for today. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I'm happy. Right? Your thoughts affect your feelings. Your feelings affect your actions. I'm miserable, I'm fed up, I can't be bothered to do anything. You feel sad, so you don't go to that business event where you were about to meet someone who is going to make you a multi-millionaire. Right? Or you don't go to that speed dating event and you were supposed to meet the person you were supposed to meet because you're going to fall in love and have children and live until you're 90 years old and die after being married for 50 years. All right? It's all about understanding your thoughts because your thoughts control your feelings, and if you haven't got your feelings in check, they control your actions, and if they haven't got your actions in check, it controls your outcomes. So if you're miserable, you're fed up, you hate yourself, you don't take the action, okay? You feel sad, you don't take the action, you're not going to get the outcome you desire. So this is why the law of attraction is so important. Okay, and let's just talk about the law of attraction. I'm a practitioner, right? Let's talk about the law of attraction. If you want to affirm and you want to bring things into your life, you have to understand that this is all a part of it. This is where we say our thoughts, right? Our imagination, our ability to create. It comes from the thoughts in our mind. It comes from up here because that affects the way we feel. If you feel excited about receiving a new Ford Mustang, that Ford Mustang's climbing up that hill. You switch the magnet on, it's coming up the hill, right? And the more you get excited, the stronger the magnet gets, the longer it stays on. It's going to come and it's going to hit that magnet. And when it hits the magnet, it's yours. All right? So this is what you've got to understand, is that your thoughts are, I'm excited, I'm worthy, I can't wait, I've got this business opportunity, I've got this money coming in, I've got this coming in. You feel good. You feel happy. You feel excited. You feel content. And when you feel happy, excited and content, changes your actions. So you end up going towards exactly what it is you need, and you end up getting the car that you want, right? And then your outcome, you're even happier because you received it. You understood you could manifest. You understood you could create. Okay, and this is what we have to understand, is that if we control our thoughts and our actions and feelings start to change, your outcome in your life is drastically improved. Okay, you go from that present state all the way to that desired state, and you get to a point in life where you have what you want, right? We're all looking, we're all searching, we're all trying to improve and get better and grow and become better people. So with that knowledge that you've just received from the episode number 2 of the Wisdom for Humanity podcast, with this knowledge right now, you can take that away and better understand yourself. Well, James, every day I'm saying that I'm excited, that I'm happy, yeah, but you don't feel it, right? You're kicking out them thoughts, but you don't feel it. Your emotions, your feelings are still down the place that you're sad, you're lonely, you're miserable, and you're fed up. So now we've got to look at those feelings. How do I change my feelings, James? It's another episode we're going to be getting onto very, very soon. How do you change the way you feel, right? This is really important stuff, guys, because this information right here, when you absorb this, when you take this in, your whole life changes, right? And if your thoughts are good and you finally got your feelings in check and your actions are a little bit dubious, James, I'm a bit anxious, I've got a lot of fear around it, so I feel good and I can't wait to do it, but I'm afraid. How do I change and get out of the fear, James? Excellent question. We'll get to that. Okay, so it's just really important that you understand these 4 components right here. Thoughts, feelings, actions, outcomes, these 4 components. When you understand them and you get to a point where you can now change your thoughts easily, you can change the way you feel in an instant, you can change the way you act upon things, your outcomes are just going to drastically change. So listen, guys, self-understanding is a real big one. And I know we kind of focused on down the attainment of self and knowledge in this episode, but if you can understand that you control the vast majority of yourself, even if you don't believe it right now, you do, and we're going to get onto that on later episodes, so be excited for that. Even if you understand that in this moment, you start to get to a point in life where something bad comes your way, but it doesn't matter because you know how to deal with it. So listen, guys, thank you so much for watching the Wisdom for Humanity podcast. Make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. Also, I've got 2 courses, the 10 Keys to Life and the Foundations of Life. They will provide you with even more knowledge on understanding yourself and how to get yourself from where you are to where you want to be. And trust me, if you're ready to change, go and check those courses out. I'll pop the links down in the description below. You'll be able to check those out. And listen, guys, just from the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in to the Wisdom for Humanity podcast. Share it with a friend or family. Spread the love around. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next episode.